I've said that midlife is considered to be the middle ages in life, ranging anywhere from 35 to 60 or thereabout. But I really don't think that people in their 30s should be thinking about that. Now, for women, it's called menopause. And it sounds like it is time to pause and evaluate. You need to think about, now that I can get more children, now that my children are becoming teenagers, what do I do next? Next slide. Ellie, are you the one with the screen?
Yes.
Okay. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does, is what we read in James 1. A midlife crisis is an unstable, crucial time of life during middle age, when a person feels the immediate necessity to reevaluate one's identity. Who am I? Values. Is this value the one? Should I be having it? It's preventing me from going. And my goals, which I've kept emphasizing, your vision. A midlife crisis may occur at the time of transition changes in a person's life. The resulting change can be negative or positive, depending on the choices that are made. So, although people call it a crisis, doesn't have to be a crisis. Can be simply midlife, full stop. Next stage, next screen. So we are saying midlife can be a time of self-doubt. That you can't avoid. In the sense that you have been working for 12, 15, 20 years. And you have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing really what I should be doing? And disappointing that can lead to irrational thinking. Because you are so frantic, I have failed. And sometimes impetuous purchases. You are trying to catch up with others. And irresponsible relationships. You are so unhappy with your wife, you ask yourself, surely, I have not enjoyed my 20 years. I may have another 20, 30 years with her. How am I expected to stay in this marriage? All those are issues. So on the career side, the question you're asking is, am I really making progress? By the time I'm 60, I've already done 20 years. I'm retiring in another 10 years. How do if I stay in this, will I really be able to prepare for my retirement? God, next screen. The important, this time of midlife has benefits, because what we are calling a crisis can also be an immensely productive time as well. Because maybe you have been cruising without thinking. All of a sudden, if you are a woman, you realize, I can't get more children. Did I get all the children I wanted? If you're a man, you feel, higher, I can't really go where I wanted to go. So where else can I actually go? That's a very important thing, because if you waste more time, you end up far off your target. It's a time when people refocus their priorities and exchange old leisures with new ones. And all this we are relating to your working life. There is not, you are one person as a husband, one person as a worker, one person as a father. Next slide, next. During this time of crisis, okay, in fact, a midlife crisis may be a good product event designed to shake you out of your comfort zone so that you might achieve the highest purpose for which God created you. Next. Next. Can you go to the final 3 cards? Move right through to the final 3 cards. Ellie, are we still together?
My computer is frozen. Can you try from your end?
Okay. Pull yours down and allow me. It says you cannot start your screen. Okay. Pull your screen down. I want to start question. Yeah. I wanted to spend a bit of time talking about this future outlook. I've talked about the three types of people, three attitudes: the pessimist, the optimist, realist. During this evaluation, if you're a pessimist, you say, I can't make it. Finished. And I say, as a Christian, how can you only see things going wrong? Don't you know you have access to godly help? So a pessimist is not a Christian person. But there's another one called an optimist. An optimist is a person who doesn't even see why people pray. Because nothing can go wrong. Yeah, I'm so good. Nothing can go wrong. Optimists are the people who end up with burnout more easily. Because what happens to them, they're in shock. So an optimist can't be a Christian. Because a Christian knows for him to make anything, God has to make it happen. He relies on grace. So my suggestion to you is be a realist. What's the difference between a realist, a pessimist, and optimist? A realist is a person who is proactive. He looks at life and looks at things that can go well, looks at life, things that can go badly, like a pessimist, but yet, because he knows he has God, he now takes a third view of a realist. 3 ways to handle expectations: blame, avoid blame culture. In fact, I keep telling people, the moment you have somebody to blame, that you are finished. You actually can never be a success the moment you have somebody to blame. So it is important to know blame. You need to look at your own life. In my book, The Secret Contentment, I keep saying you must be careful, because if you find somebody to blame, you don't even work at it. After all, it's because of my boss, it's because of my wife. You can't improve on it. So find a way of realistically assessing the situation and what your contribution in it is. Because once you identify your contribution, there is hope you can come out of the problem. Another second problem, wrong expectation, is I'm entitled. I've worked for this company for so long. How come they are not promoting me? You feel entitled. The moment you feel entitled, you don't even work hard. Because after all, who else can get promotion? The spirit of entitlement will finish you. And finally, to start thinking that there are no alternatives, that you are stuck, is not something that will be right. Now, I realize the note will be sent to you. You are free to call me. I'm giving you my telephone number so that you can call me, since you have run out of time. If you are ready to write, or I'll write it in the chat box, so that you can. Yeah, I'll write it in the chat box so that you can read the notes and then ask me questions as to what I meant, now that I was not able to go through the notes. But I hope the changed approach which I used was still good enough. So reach me on that one. But in the meanwhile, I'm ready for your questions. They don't have to be typed, but you can type them.
Moderating the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nana, for that. I want to welcome questions, and this can be on the floor. You can just open your mic and air your question, but also you can type, and I'll be picking out what is coming on the chat. Nothing yet at the moment, but let's take the next about 10 or so minutes for that. So I'd like to pick the first three hands. You can just raise your hand or simply just open your mic, and I will see that. open your mic and share, and I'll also be reading for what is coming on the chat box. Yes, Andrew, you can go ahead.
Good evening, and thank you for this. It's Lynette, yes. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity and the rich material that you're sharing with us today. We are so glad. Thank you. So my question is, when you're talking about the proactionary group, don't you think from the explanation that I've received that it will take time before you implement anything, because now you have to continuously think through, you think through, and time is flying, and so maybe if there's something you needed to implement, then the moment might pass you by. I don't know when I look at it that way. When I consider that, now I have to think through, I have to have a backup plan for everything I'm doing.
Okay, Kuna, can you rephrase the question for me?
Thank you, Lynette.
Kuna, can you rephrase the question for me in your own words?
So sorry, are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking Kuna to rephrase the question.
Oh, okay. All right. I think if I heard Lynette right, I think she was asking about you are talking about people who are reactionary, and I think she was asking about, is it not
reactionary? The proactionary group. Sorry, the proactionary group.
Okay, maybe Lynette, I'll let you just do it so that I.
No. Let's not ask her again. I'll just take it the way I've understood it. Okay. Wilson, I'm being unfair. If you are not my friend, I would not have put you in a spot. Now, now the way I hear the question is proactionary. Who can be that? If proactionary means for every decision I have to think about what can go right, what can go wrong, will I ever make a decision? The answer is yes. Go to the book of Luke, chapter 14, verse 28 to the end. You will see Jesus challenged. In fact, he said, people were not proactionary. People should laugh at them. They are the people who build a tower only to discover in the middle of it, they haven't got the resources to complete it. Jesus said, when they laugh at you. In other words, Jesus was teaching it is not biblically right for you to be somebody who is not proactive. 3 advantages of being proactive. Number 1, you become a prayerer. If you are proactive, you don't go into anything without prayer, because you have already seen what can go wrong and that you need God's participation. So proactiveness helps you to become somebody who takes prayer seriously. I've told you number 2 of proactiveness is it helps you never to be in shock, because whatever goes wrong, you knew it could go wrong. You took the risk knowing it can go wrong, and you trusted yourself into God's hands. If the Lord wants you to go into the fire, he will not make the king like the 3 Hebrew children, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, stop throwing you in the fire, but he will help you inside the fire. Proactiveness does not stop you making risks. It only helps you to make calculated risks. And taking calculated risks does not mean you have an answer to everything. I told you what proactiveness helps you is to make you know there are risks, know what you can do to reduce the risks, but you can never eliminate the risks. So you still take risks. And because I was running in a hurry, maybe we need a full subject on the proactive life. Lynette, I hope I'm clearer now.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me pick a question from Dr. Mary on the chat box. Elzanganga, what was your midlife crisis, and how did you deal with it?
I didn't have a midlife crisis. That's what I taught you, that you are not supposed to have a crisis.
Perhaps the question, maybe the question, as we give Jonas a chance, maybe the question behind the question is, were were there things you needed to navigate in that transition that required?
Yeah, but she has really helped me to make it clear. You people, because you are going through this, don't have to go through any midlife crisis. For example, the things that cause crisis, for example, that idea of a woman just discovering all of a sudden she can't have babies. Why should it be surprising you? You knew it would come. So it's not a crisis. You plan for it. You get the children that you want, and you don't get more. You are not in shock, because after all you had dealt with it. Number two, you learn how to live within your means. So at no time are you trying to compete with others. They don't bother you. Let me give you an example. One of the things that came as my challenge in the midlife was people asking me, Nganga, you spend all your time preaching. Every weekend you are in one campus, another campus. And of course, my workmate knew. Say, where are you? I was in Maseno. Who paid for it? Because they think that for you to go that way, you must get an allowance. Because in office, we were being paid money to travel. Said, no, it came from my salary. Said, what? How do you expect to retire? And for a while, the thought came to my life, yeah, I'm retiring at 55. I'm now over 45. What will really happen to me in retirement? But I did not allow it to become a crisis. I asked myself the question, has the Lord provided for me this far? Yes. Number two, am I living within my means so I'm able to save for where I can invest for future, for something to do with retirement? Yes. Question number three, are we in agreement with my spouse? Yes. Then let it come. By the grace of God, I've been retired now for over 15 years and have continued using money running around all over the country. The Lord has always provided. So if you are talking about did the challenge come? Yes. Did it become a crisis? No. Another one was a change in terms of teenagers. You get the crisis comes because your children are in teenage, your marriage also in teenage. And you just discover they are turning out different. They are asking questions. They are whatever. They are not exactly the babies you have been enjoying running around. Those who are older will remember when they were young, I would go with them to a university. They will sing. They became teenagers. No. They are so self-conscious. They can't sing. Used to be, they sing. My wife gives a testimony, and then I preach. They become teenagers, and they are not conscious. Then I read books about it, and I was told that's a normal behavior in teenage. So I accepted it. So instead of becoming a crisis, I accepted the children are no longer the babies that I had. So the thing that makes it a crisis are three things. Not preparing proactively. Number two, comparing yourself with others. Number three, thinking you have control on matters you have no control over, instead of leaving them to God. I hope I've answered the question. Especially the way it was rephrased by Kuna.
I wanted to give the asker to say to affirm, but I believe that Ganga, you have been able to frame the the issue. Yeah, thank you. Maybe you can confirm that.
Can give Kenas the last question so that we try to tie it up, Kuna.
Yeah, sure. Kenas, the floor is yours. You can raise your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, when determining the purpose for your life, is it always going to be something that you love doing, or something that has always been in your heart, or is it possible that God can lead you to something that is so different from what you know, or something that you really have never even thought of, so that you find yourself getting into uncharted territories and And if that happens, in that case, then how do you navigate it?
Now, unfortunately, according to Ellie, our time is up. But there are three things, Kenneth, which I should mention. Number one, you start with, in prayer, what do you hear will be your impact at the end. You are not worried about your gift. You are not worried about your interest. You're just thinking, what do you feel your life, the kind of impact your life should make in about 7 areas: to your children, to your clansmen, to your professional colleagues, to your target as a profession. What do you do? Who receives your service or your product? What do you see as the summary of your impact on them? The moment you are clear about that end, now you start asking yourself, what are my interests? What are my gifts? What do I hear God saying? And in that marriage, you shall now have a vision and you have a mission. And then you tell yourself, I do not go to that vision and mission at any cost. I have core values, boundaries within your travel, non-negotiable convictions, which I'm ready to fail in my life rather than break them. That will help you in creating your purpose. And when you do, you will discover you are hearing God's voice as to what you should be doing. And what you should be doing, the vision remains, but the means will change as you grow older. So you keep changing depending on your giftings, on your circumstances, and the doors the Lord is opening. Hope Kenneth, that helps.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It does.
Thank you so much. I think that's all the time we had for this session, but very fruitful conversation.